and all the invited guests. Before the modern education, we had traditional education. That traditional education was characterized by three factors. You had mainly informal education, which was imparted by the families. Because the society, the tribes here were organized in caste systems. You would have cattle keepers with their traditional cattle keeping knowledge, like you see the Karamojong today. Then you would have the agriculturalists. Then you have the fishermen, fisher communities. Then you would have the artisans, blacksmiths, and so on. Now, the families would pass knowledge informally at home as the child grows up. That knowledge was quite extensive, although not written down. And now these days, some of our scientists are going back and getting that knowledge and using modern methods. They are discovering that it's very, very useful knowledge, especially medicine and other support systems for life. Then you would have apprenticeship, especially for the artisans. You would have the blacksmith training a few people by working with them. Then you have the carpenters, the abakomaji, the ones who are those who are making backcloth and so on. And then you also had institutional education, especially by the kingdoms. The kingdoms would train young people formally, mainly in warfare, in fighting, how to fight. That's what they were doing most of the time. Now, when modern education came, initially, the missions were not very clear. It was mainly started by the churches and a little bit by the colonial government, where they wanted to get people, the catechists, to spread the religion, and also the colonial government wanted to get some auxiliary support for the colonial system, to get clerks, some interpreters, and a little bit of technical support staff, such as medical assistants, veterinary assistants, and so on. Now, when we came, and I'm glad you are all here, But there was also, that education was very limited. It was for very few people. You can imagine by 1961, in the whole of Uganda, we had only 6 A-level schools. These were Budo, Gayaza, Ntare, Namagunga. Somebody said Nabingordomi, I was not sure, and Kisubi. There were only 6 by 1961, 6 A-level schools. And you can get the figures of the people involved, the numbers. So when we came, we were aware of all this because we had gone through it. We knew the limitations. And that's why we said, as soon as stability was restored, we proposed to you in the elections of 1996 that we should have education for all, universal education. Unfortunately, this has not been fully implemented because of the resistance by the head teachers, some of the head teachers, and the PTA. They are looking for money, money. So on this occasion, I would like to congratulate the Minister of Education for what has been done, to congratulate the whole government for what has been done, but to remind everybody that the real solution is universal education. All children must go to school and stay there in government schools. The private people can charge money, but not to government schools. Government schools must plan so that we get rid of school charges. You are talking about the skilling hubs, how they are helping young people who are desperate. I wish you could hear the testimonies of those young people. I don't know how long your conference is here, but they could put there some of their testimonies. These are children who are locked out of the education system by that money thing of in the government schools. It is the barrier. It's a very big barrier, must stop. So when they are desperate, when I brought this free skilling at the zonal level, those children who come there, they are like resurrection. Somebody who had given up life, now he has got hope. So this is one point that must be clear. There must be no school charges. Once we are ready, we must ensure there are no school charges in government schools. Even here, these young people who are giving testimonies, the ones who are speaking here, they tell you how free education helped them. That's what they were saying here. All of them. They got government sponsorship. They were this and that and that. You heard them saying here in these who spoke here. So this is a big bottleneck. It must be removed. Now, the moment you go for education for all, free education in government schools, then the next question is, what sort of education? That's why again we have another struggle. And we told you, emphasize science education. Emphasize science education. Africa was colonized not because we lacked kings. We had plenty of kings with the leopard skins and all that. Not because we lacked priests. We had a lot of witch doctors and so on. Not because we lacked singers who can sing and amuse people, or storytellers. We had all those. But Africa was colonized and almost exterminated because we lagged behind in science and technology. Gunpowder, that was the biggest gap in what we were doing. Europe acquired gunpowder when we were still using bows and arrows and spears. So Africa must never lag behind again in science and technology. That's why we say, yes, education is all important, but emphasis must be put on science and technology. And the AI you are talking about is part of that. It is not magic, it is the use of natural laws to solve problems. AI. And people should not fear AI. AI is part of the understanding of nature and using it to solve our problems. It's not that we don't need social sciences. No. If you study economics, you would hear of the 4 factors of production, that we need 4 factors of production. What are they? Later on, some people added another one. They said there was a number 5, but me, I remember the 4, which I studied 60 years ago. And these are land, natural, which means natural resources, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship can be a humanities subject. It is not necessarily a science subject. It is the one which puts together all the other factors. So social science is important. The only difference is that it must have a base, or a very wide base of science and technology. Now, finally, I'm happy to see the partners here, UNESCO and the European Union and the others. It's good that they support Africa to come out and catch up with the rest of the world. I don't know, the planners in Western Europe, I think they are bad planners. They don't know how to plan well, because I don't know why they like to have parts of the world remain backward when only some parts are the ones which are affluent. This is not good even for them. I don't know why people don't see that. Global affluence will benefit everybody, irrespective of who they are. Whether they are communists, you find people talking about China, 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 I don't know what. Me, I'm very happy for China to be very progressive and for all the people in the world to be progressive. Why? This is because some years ago, the price of steel had collapsed. When we came into the government, we have got very good iron ore in Kabale area of Togoto, very good, it's the best in the world, very pure, 70%. And for a long time, I was trying to get investors to invest in that iron ore to create a steel industry. But I couldn't get investors. I was being told that there is a glut, what they call a glut, G-L-U-T. There is too much steel, that the price is so low. At that time, apparently, the price of steel had gone down to $200 per ton. And why was this? It was because prosperity in the world was only in Western Europe, North America, and Japan. They were the ones having an affluent life, with good houses, with driving cars, which needed steel. And that's why they were saying that there was too much steel in the world. There was a glut. But in a very short time, when China took off and started developing very fast, and India took off, and even Africa to some extent, the demand for steel went up. The demand for steel went from $200 per ton at one time to $900 per ton. And that's why now my problem is no longer to attract companies to convert our obtare. Iron ore in our language is called obtare. We have got more words than the English. The English don't have enough words. Say iron ore, iron ore. No. Obtare. Obtare. When you hear obtare, that means iron ore. Now I have got a big problem selecting which company to work with to develop the steel industry of Uganda. Why? Because of the wider prosperity. Whether the Chinese are communists or not, and whether they are Russians, I don't know what they are, but they all need steel. And it's good for me, for Uganda, it's good for Africa. The demand of copper has gone up because they need wires for electricity and so on. So therefore, it's good that our partners, and I would like to discuss more with their leaders, support global prosperity. If all the 8.5 billion people of the world had a GDP per capita of $20,000, how big would the world economy be? You can calculate it. And everybody would gain. So I congratulate you on this International Day for Education. And I want to congratulate Mama and the ministry for what you have done. But the few points I have made, free education for all, in our case. and for our partners, affluence for all is better for the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
A round of applause for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda.
And our chief guest tonight. May I hear more noise from the young people applauding the President for the wonderful presentation and the confirmation that he is in full support of the TVET sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to conclude the first phase of this event. And so coming on next are three important things. One are the anthems. The anthems will come first. And then immediately after the anthems, we'll go for the photo moments. And I'm going to read who will be part of the photo, but it will involve all of us. And then we shall continue with exhibition as well as entertainment. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, may I request police band to lead us into the anthems as I also put my team of photo moment on alert to prepare the scene.
Happening now. Tutaataaganya mu mpeereza yaffe okukutuusaako ebyakagwawo.